Are excuses and false beliefs continually holding you back and keeping you from living the life that you truly want to live for yourself? Do you feel like you want to begin moving on and letting go of this kind of thing that's holding you back? Hello, everyone. This is James Nussbaumer, and I am the author of these two books. The first one is The Master of Everything, a story of mankind in the world of illusion we call life. And its sequel, just released, is called Mastering Your Own Spiritual Freedom. Both books are published by Ozark Mountain Publishing Company, and I've been told they're a real page turner. But these two books, I believe, can help you find the answers of letting go of the things that are holding you back in life. I often hear people say things like, if things were only different, if he or she would change, if the stock market would only rise for me, if I were only more fortunate, and on with all the excuses that we pout about and place blame on the things of our past. A Course in Miracles, which I'm very fond of, and most of you may know that, states that no one can escape from illusions unless he looks directly at them, for not looking is the way they are protected. That makes a lot of sense. And we'll talk a little bit about that here in a second, but are you able to live a life of false belief that is not about who you truly are and still be at peace with yourself? I don't know of too many people that can. Are you able to be happy with what you have now and just move forward from there, gradually getting what you want each step of the way? Then you're always living the life that you want and where you're at right now. We might try to justify within ourselves that we do what we must in order to just get by or to survive. We pay the bills or we live up to the family name, or like many, we believe we may say to ourselves that we're just not good enough to lead the life that we really would like to have. So then we remain stuck in a mold that the world has set for us. But can we really blame the world? Or is it really that we remain stuck in the mold so we may please the world? Avoiding conflict and fear of attack. Is this fear of attack, such as thinking, what would people say, simply just another excuse, or is it really an untruth, a falsity? If so, what is it that you really fear? I can hear some egos out there as you're listening to this right now, because there's an ego in all of us, and I can hear some egos saying right now, as they're flexing their muscles, that I don't give a darn what people think. But, let me add, I'll say it this way. You want to bet that you don't give a darn about such and such and what people think? We all do. And, at some level, we all do. And we all want to, at some level, we all want to be loved and accepted and do what it is that we want to do in life. Of course, love is what oneness offers. And it is what oneness with all life is. Nonetheless, when we decide to remain living the delusional, where we judge truth as something we don't really want, it's as though we are afraid of it. What I mean, we're afraid that if we go with our gut feelings, in other words, go with what is really within us, what we really want to do, then we would be in denial or accused of being in denial. This would single us out for all to see us as a failure, or a rebel, or a nonconformist, causing much embarrassment and anxiety and possibly loss of the ones who we think love us. But this is really not the case. Those kind of things would not really happen. It's only some projection going on in our minds. This is what we think might happen, and like I said, but rarely ever does. Could we be afraid of losing love? As we discussed earlier on just a little bit when I'd started, only denial in this sense is the denial of the ego-based thought and refusal to live a life of illusion. When we refuse to live a life of illusion, we're refusing to live by ego-based thought. We get comfortable and we define, when we're living by the ego, that is when we are comfortable and we only think that we're comfortable, and we're defining complacency by living according to the ego-based gossip and what the world kind of tells us we should do. Maybe well-informed family and friends, but really don't have your best interests. So what really is inside of you in their hearts only what they want to see of you for their dream about what you should be. You know, we block all knowledge except for the knowledge that keeps us comfortably satisfying the ego in us and the ego in others. We seem that we want to satisfy because we feel that we need that to be accepted. There is a way out of this trap, though, but once again, you must be operating from truth. It must be total truth and not a partial truth, nor can it be a truth that is stretched. So before we move on here for just a second, please ask yourself one simple question, and the question is this: why am I afraid of the truth in my heart? Why am I afraid to live the life I really want to live? Well, since you must operate from this one and only truth to bring out the real spirituality and the enlightenment that you are, I use in my book as an example in The Master of Everything, the inner light that we are, and I call it the spiritual flashlight, a light, let's say, that's in your mind. This is your brain, but not your brain, the mind of who you are, the essence of who you are. Just pretend that there's a light in there called one of those big flashlights, like one of those big maintenance flashlights. It's got the big round light on it. And pretend that you've got the spiritual flashlight in your control, that you can use it any day. And it's this great idea that like I said, I discussed in my book, and it helps you to become a light worker within yourself. You can do that right now. Here's how it works. Go ahead. I'll give you a second to think about this, but here's the way it works. Okay, let's go. Take that flashlight that's in your mind, okay, and shine that inner light directly on the truth that you really are, and see it and notice it, and notice how much you really want that. The one truth seems to be a very lovely pathway. This is the path of your desires that need to be a part of you, more than just goals. Look at these true desires, not fantasies, just true desires, but sincere, honest desires which portray who you truly are. If you sense a little swift tug going on in your mind about you can't really do that, then that's the ego in you tugging away, not wanting you to follow the truth in your heart. That fearful, excuse-making self is the ego-based mind. So while doing this, you know, take that same inner light, that same spiritual flashlight that's in your mind, and shine it directly onto the ego that's trying to change your mind about following your dreams. What happens is the darkness of the ego, just like the darkness in the night is drawn to the sun rising. The darkness is put out by it being attracted to the light. As it comes toward the light, the darkness goes away. So the darkness of ego, as it covers its eyes to your spiritual flashlight, it will slowly fade away. So when you feel those doubts and fears, get out that spiritual flashlight and shine it directly on the face of those ego-based thoughts and watch it fade away. You know, let it know that as of now, in this present moment, you are operating from your own true free will, which is God's will. Wouldn't you say? Sure. Let the ego understand this without having to explain yourself, because trying to explain yourself to the ego is another trick of the ego to pull you back in. So you don't have to explain anything to your ego. Be firm. Let the ego understand your firmness. No explanation needed. As you shine your delightful divine light, I get a little tongue twister with those two D's together. If you shine this spiritual light on your resistance and your indecisiveness, you can immediately begin to trust the Holy Spirit that is within you, which is the light, which is your spiritual flashlight. You can begin to trust the Holy Spirit within you, the light of truth itself, which is who you are. And this light will be leading and guiding you on your way from here on out. Notify the ego with the light. Shine that light back in its face again. Notify the ego that you're now using your light worker ability to cut through the obscurity, the darkness that the ego has made for you. You might visualize this much like the light, say, on a locomotive, confidently cruising down the track through the fog. You know, you must stand firm and keep your spiritual flashlight handy to shine away any further antics of the ego. I hope you enjoyed that. Hey, folks, and I would like to add quickly that I have a system that I use to claim real abundance in my life by true extension of myself. If you're watching this video on YouTube, the link is in the description box right down below. And if you're at my blog site where you're watching this video, there are some links here, I believe near the bottom of the blog, that you can click on that will take you to that page of my website. I wish the best for you. God bless. And here's to your real self. Thank you, everyone.